You got to make sure your bases are covered and that we have all the safety bases covered. Even if you're at a hotel or a place that has everything lit indoors, if you're doing anything outdoors, make sure you ask, do I need to bring in additional lighting to this space, or will the lighting from the venue suffice? Then it's fun to add in all the other fun layers, the uplights, the pin spots, the chandeliers, the string lighting, fun dance lighting, and making sure that key moments and key design elements are just glowing and beautiful.
Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning.
Welcome to The Wedding Plan. My name is Tyler Spire, and me and my team produce bespoke events across the globe. This podcast is where I share key advice for planning your own wedding, as well as behind-the-scenes adventures and stories from the events we produce. Hey friends, welcome to The Wedding Plan. We are diving into the different vendors that bring wedding designs to life right now. Last episode, we talked about rentals, and now we're moving on to one of my favorites, lighting. Good lighting gives me goosebumps. It is such an easy and magical way to transform any space, or maybe not even transform the space, but highlight the space in a new way. Lighting can bring out the florals. It can bring out the architecture. It can light up the trees. It makes the space feel magical. You can have the most gorgeous design. I love seeing a transformation when we have like a big, beautiful outdoor dinner, right? And you come up at dusk and all the guests are sitting down to dinner, and you know, all the candles are lit and they're flickering and the flowers look beautiful. The sun is that golden light. It's so beautiful. And you go, wow, this space is amazing. And then with good lighting, as the sun goes down, it just gets warmer and warmer and even more magical and beautiful. Good lighting is so fun. We're going to talk about lighting a lot like we talked about rentals in the last episode. So as a planner, when I'm working with a venue, the first thing I need to make sure in terms of lighting is make sure that all of our safety needs are covered. And you may hear that and be like, well, you know, if you're getting married at a hotel in a ballroom, the safety needs are covered, right? The ballroom has lights, the kitchen has lights, the bathroom has lights, the path to the valet has lights. Hotels and venues that have all that stuff built in need that kind of lighting for safety already. So if you're getting married at a venue like that, then that first question is kind of already answered. You can just check that box and be like, yes, safety lighting is done. However, if you're getting married at a less traditional venue, a private estate, you're building something out somewhere, you're getting married at like maybe a winery or I don't know, wherever you're getting married. And if it's more of a build out, you need to ask yourself those questions. Are my safety bases covered? And the way you check that is, where will my guests be during this event once it's dark? So the first step is making sure your safety bases are covered by asking yourself, where are my guests going during this event once it's dark? So usually it gets dark sometime around cocktail hour or dinner. So I'm usually not worried about lighting in the ceremony space, but every wedding is different. So you want to make sure that dinner is lit, that dancing is lit. You want to make sure that the path to the bathroom is lit, that the bathrooms themselves are lit. And then finally, the path back to wherever the shuttles or parking lot or valet or whatever it is lit. And finally, that the actual area that you are getting into your car, getting your valet or getting into the shuttle is lit as well from the guest experience. And then on the other side of safety, we want to ask about the people working. We want to make sure that the pathway for your servers during dinner, the path from kitchen to dining is lit, that the kitchen itself is lit, that the scullery is lit, that the staff bathrooms, if you have separate bathrooms for the staff, are lit, that the lights to the staff parking lot, all the safety, where will your staff be? And I like to ask myself too, not just during the event, we need to think about after the event. During cleanup, do we have enough lighting for cleanup of all the spaces that need to be lit? And if, we often as a team will not get lighting in a ceremony space, but we know that we have to have that full ceremony cleaned up before it gets dark if there's not lighting out there based on the venue. During cleanup, it's also important to remember you don't want your lighting vendor to come first and take down all the lights while everyone else is trying to take down all the rest of the stuff. You want to make sure your timing, usually the lighting vendor is the last to come, or you just want to make sure you have a really experienced lighting vendor that knows, okay, first we're going to get the up lights and the more ambient things. We're going to leave up the safety stuff till last. One other thing to consider, especially if it's a full build out, is if you're going to be working late into the night before, or we've done, sunrise services where we've had to have the florals ready by 7 a.m. So that means we're starting at 2 a.m. Kind of in that terms of asking yourself about safety lighting, we had to make sure we had a floodlight out in the ceremony space because we had to start the install so early in the morning. So that's not the fun part of lighting, but it is something we need to ask. Do we have all of our bases covered? I also said a little earlier, if you're getting married at a hotel, your bases are probably covered. However, you always want to ask because there are certain hotels or venues that have all their bases covered indoors, but the minute you move outdoors, you have to bring in additional lighting. And so you just want to ask, hey, in order for us to be using this space outside, do I need to bring in additional lighting? And if the answer is yes, then you just need to make sure your bases are covered, that the space is lit. Usually at hotels and places like that or any venue, there's a lighting partner or preferred person to do it. If that partner has everything we need, we'll almost always go with the venue's preferred person because that person often knows the power at the venue. They know what the venue can handle in terms of power, or if you need to bring in a generator or something else. So using a preferred lighting partner is often the way to go. Now, sometimes I'll look at the preferred list or I'll look at the preferred lighting vendors and be like, I need to bring in someone who I trust and have worked with before to get this specific vision to come to life. And then we'll bring them in. And often those companies can also, do all the research on the power and things like that. But power and safety, important. Base layer. Then we get into the wants. There are 5 different things that I think are really fun with lighting. They are wants, they are not needs, but I think they can really make a space magical in no particular order. Number 1, uplighting. Uplights are the lights that go on the ground and shoot light up, often onto like architecture of an indoor space, or if you're doing draping in a space and you want the draping to really glow. If you are getting married indoors, uplighting is one of my favorite ways to make it feel warm and beautiful. I often just do uplights in a warm white. Depending on the event, sometimes there's other colors we'll go to, but a nice warm white uplight can completely transform an indoor space. Outside, uplights are amazing for highlighting like foliage, trees, gardens, the surrounding space, and really making that feel warm. So if you're getting married in a place with beautiful trees all around you, uplights are amazing. If it's a big flat open field, uplights may not be highlighting anything. They're there to highlight and make something glow. A lot of hotels and a lot of venues will have built-in landscape lighting, so I always like to see it at night because sometimes there's enough uplights and sometimes I want to bring in some additional. So uplighting. Number 2 is pin spotting. This is when in the ceiling or in the tent or on the wall or however it's done, somewhere up high, a light is put that shines directly down at pin spots onto a specific thing. I love pin spotting centerpieces. It's a way to make the flowers really glow, especially if you want the room to be a little bit darker and more moody or just more romantic, more candlelit. If you think about it, like think about your own dining room table. If you buy a bouquet of flowers and put it on that table, you could have a candlelight dinner, right? Like light a few candles and have those flowers in the middle. You're not going to appreciate the beauty of those flowers once it gets darker. So pin spotting the flowers means that the rest of the room can stay darker, but there's a beam of light on the florals to illuminate them. And it can be a soft white. It doesn't have to be something bright and crazy, but it just like makes them glow so you can appreciate the texture, the color, the beauty. I especially pin spot in any indoor design that I'm doing. I think it's really important depending on the centerpiece, but almost always. And then outside, especially at night, I think it's really fun to do. Sometimes it's not needed in a space depending on the lighting installation overhead, but it's definitely a way to make the flowers glow. The third thing besides uplighting and pin spotting that I love to do is thinking about dancing lighting. And I'm not necessarily talking about like disco light shows, lasers, things like that, although those can be really fun if done well in a dancing space. But making sure that the band is illuminated, there's a good wash of light on the band, making sure there's a good wash of light on the dance floor, and making sure that all of it, this is for all lighting for me, make sure that all of it is dimmable. During the night, there's different moments you want illuminated in different ways, especially around dancing. Especially around dancing. Your first dance as a married couple, you probably want the light to be a little bit warmer and lighter. You want to get those good photos. If you're doing the tradition of parent dancing, you want those dances to be done in a warmer light. The photos, the video, those moments matter. You do not want to be basking in bright light when you're on the, fun last songs of the night. You want it to get dark. You want the party to start coming to life. And when light is shining on you, it's harder to like just let loose and have fun. So having that ability to dim and move lights is so important. If it works in your budget, have a lighting tech on site. If you're having a big lighting installation, we just always have them. But have someone on site who's managing the lighting so that you can say, hey, I want this, brought down a little bit. Oh, let's change the uplights from, warm white. Let's go to blue or to some fun party colors. Let's adjust things. Let's make this more of a dynamic space. So budget permitting, having an on-site tech is amazing. The fourth thing in lighting that I really love, indoor, outdoor, is pendant lighting. This is when you bring in, a chandelier, you're bringing in fun, cool, unique pendant light shapes, things that are hanging from the ceiling, that are on the walls, whatever it is. These are just beautiful ways to enhance a space. I especially love chandeliers and pendant lighting when I'm working outside because often those lights look beautiful in daylight. Think about a chandelier hanging over your dining room table, right? Like when the room is light, it looks beautiful. It looks amazing. You see the detail, whether it's crystal, whether it's metal, whether it's wood, it's beaded, it's a basket, whatever it is. It looks beautiful in the daylight, so it enhances the decor. And then as the sun goes down, it glows, it gets magical, and the night continues. So outdoors especially, I love those kind of things. Indoors, we have a little bit more control of the lighting in the room, especially if there's no big windows or anything. And so if you're bringing in additional chandeliers and things like that, it's always fun. It always enhances the decor. But outside, I especially love gorgeous lighting. The fifth category of lighting is like bistro lights, twinkle lights, all the lights that are on long strings. And again, I'm simplifying this, guys. There are so many unique things out there that, if you are a lighting professional listening to this, you could be like, no, there's like 20 more things out there. If you are a designer listening to this, there's so many more things out there, but I think it's important to just kind of like simplify it down into bite-sized pieces, especially for couples, for you guys listening, that maybe trying to understand what are the pieces of lighting coming into an event. And again, if you're working with a full service planner or a designer, they're going to be guiding you through all of this. But lights on strings. I love a good basic bistro light, guys. That's like the lights on the strings, the little round bulbs zigzagged over a long table. I think it's so romantic. I think it's so, kind of can be really like farm to table, can be really beautiful, can be really cost effective, can be expensive, depends on the area, depends on the company, but it's a super easy way to illuminate a space and it can be very romantic. I also love string lights with like the little tiny twinkle lights. Often those are a little more expensive, a little more labor intensive. You need a lot of them, but twinkle lights, wrapped up trees overhead, all the things, so magical, so beautiful. One other thing I want to bring up while we're talking about lighting is a lot of lighting companies will also do draping or cool structures or other things. Again, it just depends where you are in the world. It depends what the market's offering, things like that. But often you can do the same company doing your draping, your lighting, and all of that kind of together. And all of that often is very intertwined in the design. So in summary, remember, you got to make sure your bases are covered and that we have all the safety bases covered. Even if you're at a hotel or a place that has everything lit indoors, if you're doing anything outdoors, make sure you ask, do I need to bring in additional lighting to this space, or will the lighting from the venue suffice? Then it's fun to add in all the other fun layers, the uplights, the pin spots, the chandeliers, the string lighting, fun dance lighting, and making sure that key moments and key design elements are just glowing and beautiful. And like I said, lighting is an amazing way to transform a space, especially if you're like inside in a ballroom. Uplights, pin spots, just that alone can make such a huge difference. I said it earlier and I'm going to close on this. My main thing, and I ask every lighting company this as we're going, I always just want to make sure my lights are on a dimmer so you have control. Because friends, especially if it's a venue where you can't do a lighting test the day before, like it has to be brought in that morning, the event itself, as it's getting dark, like the lighting is what it is. We can't go in and change it. So if you have a dimmer, you have control to be able to bring down the light a little bit if it needs to be brought down, bring it up if it needs to be brought up. It just gives you that flexibility to make sure that it's perfect.
Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away.